if you do not have any spray stuff, you can actually use, if you have the petal dusts, you can use those, or the non-toxic chalks, you can use those. I would personally take these off before I'd let the kids eat them. And you need kind of a stiff brush. I actually use my finger, but you can actually use your petal dusts and you can actually dust it, okay? And then you have to dust the other side. So let me get that off. You have to dust both sides. So if you don't have a spray, you can do it this way. Just dust it. And like I said, I use my finger and rub it in, is what I do, and then I end up with black fingers. But if you need a really, really dark color, you can actually use a little shortening, coat it with shortening, and then coat it with the dust. But if you do that, you only want to do one side because it's not going to stick. You know, the shortening, then it won't stick to anything. And we need to stick to the other paper. So we just dust it lightly, and it comes out dark enough. I have it here somewhere, and it came out dark enough, so for pupils, wherever they are. I think I've lost his eyeballs. They probably blew away somewhere. I'll have to find, I can always cut these out. So I just put my finger in. I'm a hands-on cake decorator. Get my hands in it. And then cut it out. If you've got the black spray, you can spray it with black spray. Ta-da! So there's a pupil. Okay, and then I did the same thing. I cut out some feet. So here's a couple feet that I dyed orange, and I cut out. These are the wings. This is the ears, and they're patterns that we can certainly supply you. Yes, without a problem. Okay, so I have these. These as patterns. The beak is just a triangle. Okay, so I just cut them out of pink. So his wings, his ears, and his feet, and then the beak, and then here's the eyes, the eyeballs. Oops, let me get this out of the way. Now, to adhere this to my cake, I need to have a wet surface on my cake. So my crumb coat is probably crusted now, so I'm gonna do a light coat on my cake and start assembling.
Excellent.
Okay. So let me do a light coat on here. So I got my buttercream frosting. Give it a mix. It's got a lot of air in it, but the cake's moving around. That's okay. Doesn't need a lot of frosting. Believe me, the last thing you need is more sugar. So it can be a nice light coat. You just need something wet. You can probably just, one thing you got to make sure, you can't do this with whipped cream because the moisture in the whipped cream will soak through the rice paper and it'll be dissolved. So you can't do whipped cream frosting. Just so you know. My buttercream, it's not, it doesn't have a ton of moisture in it. It crusts well. So I don't have a problem with it. And the grease absorption, I didn't even notice that. I have a cake that's been sitting for 3 days and I didn't notice any grease absorption in the rice paper. So.
We do have a question when you...
Yes. I'm right here.
Good, okay. We're wondering how this cake would be cut, especially if you used the individually wrapped candies on the inside.
The candy on the inside isn't the problem. It's the wafer paper on the outside that's hard. And I actually, cutting it isn't really a problem. I mean, you're going to rip through the wafer paper when you do it. But I actually just do the first cut, make sure that I have a seam in the wafer paper so I can cut down through it. Because, yeah, the knife doesn't like to cut through the wafer paper. So cutting's a problem. The candy on the inside isn't an issue. It just goes right through it. The knife just goes right through it. And we'll cut this. If I get the go-ahead to cut it, we'll cut it so you can see it. I mean, that's half the fun, right?
Well, if we cut it, then it'll have to be eaten.
Well, yeah. No,
that's what I'm saying.
No kidding. You guys want to see it cut. You want to see the candy fall out, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's half the fun.
Yeah, but there's no fondant on this at all.
No.
It's all buttercream.
It's all buttercream. Buttercream and wafer paper. But you know, again, you can decorate it any way you want. So if you decide you want to do it all buttercream or fondant or whatever, you know, you can. Because this cake can be this technique can be done with any kind of decoration. You know, if you want to do a buttercream or fondant cake, you don't have to use rice paper. And you can use the whipped cream. I also don't have to have this smooth, which is even better. So,
Nice.
so I'm done. You know me.
Yeah.
The easier, the better.